Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fix My Finances series. If you're new here, hi, I'm Chidera, and on this series we review the real life money situation of an actual person, spot the money leaks, and also profile solutions to fix them. So as we review the finances of the person today, feel free to leave your tips, your comments, your advice below because we're definitely going to be reading them. But don't forget what we're here to do. We're here to learn, reflect, and grow. So try not to be judgmental as much as possible in your comments. So in today's episode, we're looking at 31-year-old Mary, who is a care worker and lives in Kent. So in her own word, the reason why she reached out and filled out her finances for me to review is that she said, I have a spending problem. I make decent money, but I can't save. I love looking good, perfumes, clothes, makeup, but it's getting out of hand. I think I need help. And honestly, when I saw this, I said it's a really good sign because the first step to fixing a problem is actually acknowledging that there's a problem. And also, you can join the waitlist for my money bootcamp on the link in the description box below. It's going to be a series of weeks where I'm going to mentor people on different aspects of money, saving, investing, buying your first home, budgeting, different things. If this sounds like something you'll be interested in, it's not free, by the way. Link in the description box below to join the waitlist so you'll be the first to know once this go live. So without further hesitation, let's dive deep into her finances. Alright, so if you see me looking on the side, it's because I've got my laptop here so that I can actually read out her situation and be sure that I'm following it accurately. Alright, so who is Mary? Mary is a single lady. She doesn't have any kids. She's not married. She said she came to the UK as an international student and afterwards she stayed back and she got a job. She works as a care worker. She lives in Kent, okay? She said that she wants to start saving for her own place. She would like to buy a house, but she said between TikTok shop, ASOS, perfume orders, like she's always ordering. She feels like she's constantly stuck. Now, very interesting thing she said that she's not in any major debt, but she's trapped in a cycle of impulse spending. She feels like she's always spending money and it's beginning to make her worried. So her income, let's look at the income. She earns £2,400 after tax. It varies because sometimes if she works more hours she can earn more, but this is like an average of what she earns. And then she said occasionally she makes people's hair, not every month, but sometimes she gets about £150 a month from this. So in total, her total income is £2,550, which is not bad. Now let's look at the expenses. Let's see what's happening with Mary's finances. So her rent and her bills, she lives in a shared flat, okay? And she said the reason why she's living here is because she wants to save money, which is actually interesting, right? Like she's making financial decisions to save money, but she's not actually saving money. The rent is all bills inclusive. It's a shared flat. She has a room. It's £750. Groceries, she says she spends about £200. Transport, £120. Her phone, she spends £35. Subscriptions, she said about 35 to 40. Shopping, this is the shopping, she wrote ASOS, PLT, Shein, Temu, TikTok shop, perfume. She said it averages about £400 to £600 a month. I mean, just seeing this, we all can see that there's a problem here, and which is why Mary reached out, okay? She's not realizing that she has a spending problem. And then nails and hair, she said she doesn't like to wear wigs, so she makes her hair every month. It's about £130. Buy now, pay later repayment. So she's paying back some buy now pay later bills that she has. It's about £200. Then gifts and generosity like birthdays, giving people money here and there is £80. Miscellaneous is about £60. This thing she puts is like averages. The total cost comes up to about £2,160 to £2,360 every month. Essentially what it means is money in, money out. If her income from her employment is about £2,400 and she's spending like £2,160 to £2,360 every month, that means she's literally running on in and out. Nothing stays, okay? It's just like a sieve. It comes in, it goes out, okay? So when I asked her, like in the email she sent, we followed up like what's happening with your finances? What is the trigger for her to be shopping this much every month? And she said, in her words, she said, I convinced myself that I deserve it. A new perfume, ASOS order, something from TikTok shop. Before I know it, I've spent hundreds. It's like I blink. I love this part. I said it's like I blink and the money is gone. I feel like many of us can relate to this, okay? A lot of times you just blink like this. Money has disappeared, but does it really happen that way? So now let's look at her savings and her debt. Does she have savings? So Mary has a savings of £4,000. It's just sitting in a Lloyd's account that she has. She has a buy now pay later debt of £1,200 and she said some already accruing interest. She doesn't have any overdraft, no credit card debt. So technically she's not in financial danger yet. Like her financial picture is not too bad, but then slowly her habits are getting there. So it's a really good thing that she reached out to find a way to fix this. All right, so let me know, leave your comments down below looking at her finances so far? What do you think? Okay, drop your tips, your advice, your comments for Mary. She's definitely going to read this. Now let's spot the red flags. What are the red flags that I have seen from her finances so far? The very first thing is emotional and appearance based spending. She says she spends money because she wants to feel good. She likes to feel good. She said, I like to feel good. It makes me feel confident. When I look nice, I feel like I can face anything. There's a bit of emotional tie in there. It's valid, but the problem now is that she's turning this self-care, this I want to feel good, into a coping mechanism. That's a problem. The second red flag I spotted is like social media triggers. When she mentioned TikTok shop, I'm like, hey, when you're just scrolling on TikTok, next thing you're seeing an ad, before you know you've added it to your basket. So there's a lot of social media triggers I can see there. And also, even she says she sees things on Instagram, people link it in their bio. Basically, there's a social media trigger here that she has to work on. Next thing is the buy now pay later trap. Essentially, she's funded some of this impulse buying with buy now pay later. The problem with buy now pay later is that it disconnects you from the pain of spending, instead switches it to the pleasure of the purchase. Because the money is not leaving your account immediately, you're not feeling that pain. Instead, you're feeling pleasure from what you're buying, even though it is borrowed money. When you take money from buy now pay later, it is borrowed money. And one thing I always say is, when you borrow money for something that is not an asset or a critical need, it's essentially you making your future self poorer. By taking money today for expenses that are not essential, you're making your future self poorer. Okay, another red flag that I'm seeing here is the reward yourself mindset. I mean, many of us have been there. I've been there, where you be like, I deserve it. You know, most bad financial decisions stem from I deserve it. Okay, you buy this, you buy that, you're telling yourself I deserve it. Now there's no problem with spending on yourself, but it needs to be planned. There needs to be a structure to it. It's not every time you have a bad day, every time your boss annoys you, every time you are crying that you're making purchases because you deserve it, because you deserve a treat. There needs to be a plan and a strategy to that, which I'll get into shortly. And then the last thing that I saw as a red flag is she has £4,000, has been saving it. It's not like she's saving for anything in particular, and also it's in a low interest account. It's just in Lloyd's account. I'm going to explain what she should do with this money and how she's losing out on actual money she can be earning every month. Yes, she can be earning money on that small, let's put it in quotes, that small £4,000. Okay, all right, so now what is the action plan and the fixes? The very first thing is, Mary, come closer. We need to reframe what looking good means, okay? Looking good does not mean you have to spend a lot of money. Looking good does not have to be expensive, okay? You can have like the cheapest quality pieces, but the way you're able to style it, okay, can make you appear a certain way. So you don't have to keep dipping into your savings or dipping into your money every month just to look good. We need to reframe what looking good means, all right? Because true confidence is not found in like the products you buy, it's rather in how you use these products. That's where the confidence should come from. What I would say you can do, some fixes that I've noted here, is that one, you can build a capsule wardrobe. If you don't know what a capsule wardrobe is, it's basically you having staple pieces that are in fashion year in, year out. Some of these like capsule wardrobe pieces, you have like a white t-shirt, a button down white t-shirt, you can style it several ways, a very good jean, one pair of very nice black trouser, one pair of flat shoes. So basically like staple pieces that you can mix and match, you know, and keep wearing. So you need to convert your wardrobe, because I'm seeing from where you're buying clothes, you're buying a lot of Shein, a lot of Temu. There's a little bit of a problem with those things because like it's fast fashion. A lot of times the quality is not the best. So you want to try and ensure you have basic pieces and then find ways to style these pieces. I mean, you have Pinterest or P-interest, like some people call it. You can find different ways to style like your basic pieces and still appear good, if that makes sense. Another thing is you might have like a seasonal spending plan where you open up a budget and you save towards it for shopping. You're saving towards that pocket every month for shopping, and then you can decide, oh, you're not going to shop every month, you can shop every other month or even once in a quarter, which is every 3 months. You take that money from the pot and then you go and splurge and you know, enjoy yourself. Another thing is you should focus on maintenance over buying new. I don't know, but it's from what you're saying, it's like you buy new stuff every month. I think you should try focusing on maintaining the things you have instead of having to buy things every other month. Also, another thing the capsule wardrobe would help with is, you know, when a lot of us open our wardrobe, we're like, I don't have anything to wear, I don't have anything to wear, and then you end up buying new things because there's nothing to wear. How about we fix the problem in the first place by actually having quality pieces that are usable throughout the year, so you don't have to always buy new clothes for every new function, if that makes sense. Now the second fix here is to tackle the social media trigger. Ooh, social media. Okay, so social media is kind of like designed to make you spend. Every scroll now you make on social media, there's almost always an ad. On TikTok, when you scroll, you see an ad. Now on Instagram, at the end of videos, when you watch videos at the end, you're putting an ad there. They are out to make you spend money. I need to be intentional about how you're spending your time online. The very first thing I'll tell you, my dear, is to unfollow all the accounts that are always making you buy something. I mean, if the accounts that every time they are posting clothes, maybe all these clothing haul accounts, for your sanity, unfollow those pages. Out of sight is out of mind to some extent, so that you're not even seeing these things that are going to trigger you. Now, the second thing I'll say is to mute certain words on social media. For example, on TikTok, you can mute words. For example, you can mute hashtag TikTok made me buy it, so that any videos that are posted with that hashtag, you will not see it. So you can mute certain words on social media. Another thing is maybe consider setting app limits. Maybe you limit your time on these social media apps to 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day. The thing with temptation is the more you're constantly facing it, the more likely you are to fall or to give into that temptation. But when you reduce your exposure to that temptation, then you're less likely to. So when you reduce the time you spend on social media, it might help you with the impulse buying or the triggers on socials. And then the last thing I want to say here is, when you're trying to go to bed or when you want to go to bed, keep your phone in another room. One of the biggest triggers for impulse buying on social media is late night scrolls. You know those nights when you cannot sleep and you're scrolling. Next thing you're buying is entering your basket, you're paying, you're checking out. You want to try and avoid that. You need to create a system. There was a time in my life when I actually did this, because I noticed that I always stayed on my phone for like 1 hour to 2 hours plus when I say I'm going to sleep. So what you need to do is put the phone in another room. Guys, I don't know where you live. I mean, you said you live in a shared apartment. I don't know if you have a cupboard you can lock downstairs or something. Keep the phone away from you, such that you would have to stand up. There'll be friction. You have to stand up to go there to get the phone, and you might just decide to sleep. You know, once you put friction, it makes it a bit easier for you to say no. So consider doing that. The next fix is to create a friction with your spending, okay? You want to make it hard for you to spend money on these things you typically spend on. The very first thing I will say, my dear Mary, remove Apple Pay. Unlink all your cards. Do not have Apple Pay. Apple Pay is one of the easiest ways to just spend money, because all of these platforms where you buy stuff from, you can easily use Apple Pay to check out. Remove it, so that next time you want to pay, you have to go and physically get your card, okay? And sometimes that work to get your card, it will just tell you this thing is not worth it, okay? So remove Apple Pay. Another thing, if you have any cards already stored on ASOS, PLT, all these shopping platforms, if any of your card is already stored there, go and delete the card that is stored in all these profiles, so that when you have to spend money, you will have to log in your card details. Basically remove that, okay? Because this friction will give like your brain a moment to pause and to really evaluate if you really want to spend that money. And then the next thing I'll say is create like a 48-hour wish list. When you want to buy something, create maybe a notes app on your phone. Put the name of the thing, give it 48 hours. If after 48 hours you still feel that strong impulse to buy it, then maybe you can, okay? But more times than not, within that 48 hours, that urge to want to buy it in the moment will calm down, and then you realize, okay, this purchase actually does not make any sense. Give yourself a 48-hour rule and use a wish list to put down all the things you want to buy, and then wait 48 hours before buying all these non-essential things. The next fix is to replace the dopamine source, okay? What I mean by that is there's a bit of a psychological layer here. You know, dopamine is your feel-good hormone. You tend to spend a lot of money buying things because it makes you feel good. Like you said, it makes you feel confident, feel like you deserve it. Now we need to be able to replace that spending money to buy clothes or buy jewelry or buy a bag or whatever you're buying, and find a way to create that dopamine release, okay? Because if you just say, oh, you're going to stop shopping altogether, it's not gonna work, because you cannot just withdraw from it like that. There's a dopamine hit you get every time you do impulse shopping, okay? So what you can try is, number one, earlier on I said you can buy clothes every other month. Another way to do it is you can decide to buy clothes every month but reduce the amount. Have a savings target. Tell yourself, okay, once I get paid, I'm gonna spend just £100 this month on all the shopping I want to do. So that's one way to start weaning yourself off of that, rather than to just go cold turkey, because it's likely not gonna work, because there's a dopamine hit that you get from that. Another thing is to probably look at picking other hobbies that you can do in order to pass time. Those times when you feel like you want to shop, you want to do something, or you are just, you know, a bit uneasy, you can look for a new hobby, or you can use your new hobby in those times, okay? Maybe content creation, maybe going on a long walk, maybe dancing, okay? And then the last thing that can help you with the dopamine hit is like tracking your savings, which I'm going to get into shortly. So when you decide what you're saving towards, you might want to make it a bit rewarding, where you tell yourself, if you hit X amount in savings, then you reward yourself with this amount. Basically finding ways to like give yourself those little dopamine hits without the impulse spending. The next fix that I have for for you is to use fixed term accounts. So what these are is accounts that you save money into, but you cannot access the money until the term elapses. So what this means, Mary, is that once you get paid, before you even start spending, pay yourself first. You move money. Let's say you want to save £200 every month, okay? You move that £200 first into this fixed term account. So it could be that the money is locked for 90 days, it's locked for 180 days, whatever that looks like. You move the money there, so you cannot even withdraw that money, because most times when you want to withdraw it, there'll be a penalty, and that penalty tends to be painful. Like nobody wants to lose money. So when you move your money there, you are less likely to remove it because the money is locked up. So that's one way to teach yourself to save first before you then spend. Another thing I want to say here is to use high interest accounts. I had said earlier that you're losing out on money you can be getting even on that £4,000. You're just leaving it in a Lloyd's bank account. You can put in a high interest account, alternatively a high interest cash ISA, so that you don't even have to pay taxes. Now, one of the ones that I really like is by a brand called Plum. Currently they offer a 4.37% interest rate. Basically what this means for you is on that £4,000, if you put it in that Plum's cash ISA, every month they'll pay you £14.5 every month just for having the money there. And the more the money grows, the more the interest will grow. So every month there's £14 you're losing out on. I mean, in this UK, nothing comes easy. So even £1 is money. Talk more of £14, it could do something for you, right? And it's just one way to help your money to be growing passively. So if you want to open that account on Plum, link is in the description box below, okay? Their interest rate is one of the best on the market. The next thing is to build emotional awareness around money. So when next you feel like spending money, or when next you're about to pull up your card to pay for something online when you're scrolling in the middle of the night, take a moment to pause, just open like a notes app and just like note down what you're feeling. What is the feeling you are feeling at that moment that is making you want to spend? Are you sad? Are you happy? Are you lonely? Are you bored? Like, what is that emotion that causes you to spend money? The more you note it down, the more you begin to realize there's probably a pattern or the type of emotions that you feel that makes you spend money impulsively. So yeah, those are the fixes. I hope this helps. Once again, I really want to say I think it's really brave of you to realize that there is a problem. It's not like you're the problem, but there is a problem that you need to work towards. That honesty is the first step, and you already reaching out, I know you've got this. You can fix your finances, you can turn things around, and you can have a better control of how you spend money. All right guys, so there you have it. Make sure to leave your comments below for Mary. What do you think? Is there anything I missed that you think she can do better with? Make sure to leave all the comments below. And then also let me know, do you relate to Mary's story? Do you work hard but then you have a problem spending? You're always spending, you're not seeing the money that you're saving. If you want me to review your finances anonymously like Mary, the link is in the description box below to fill out your finances. Till next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.